And we're rolling. I'm in the dungeon.
All right.
Yeah. Dungeon again. It's another bag of six. Last time we talked underrated movies, and this time we're gonna kind of quantify it, so to speak. We're gonna pick 6 movies with the Rotten Tomatoes score sub 50 now. Rotten Tomatoes, take it or leave it. You dig what you dig, but this is like the official score, unofficial score. So we have like an actual marker to set. A lot of greater than half of the people did not enjoy these movies. So, speaking of, I know you are an award show guy. Did you watch any of the Globes?
So watched the Globes, and we watched a few of the movies that were nominated for the Globes too. Yeah. So we watched. We're doing a thing where we're taking the nominees and like cutting them into little strips of paper and then tossing them into a bowl, shaking that up, and then just picking one out randomly and then be like, okay, we're gonna watch that.
Nice.
So we've watched 4 so far. We watched The Prom, which was a musical. We let off with that one and we're just like, oh, all right, fine. It was better than I expected, but like a half hour too long. Just needed to be trimmed down. We saw Borat, which I hadn't seen, the second one. Okay. Better than I expected, actually pretty good.
Right.
We saw One Night in Miami, which was really good.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a watch. And then the favorite of the night was Palm Springs.
Oh, yeah.
Which, have you seen that yet?
Yeah, it came up last time we talked. It was in my mention Hulu original.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, man.
That surprised me.
Yeah. So the J.K. Simmons, man.
Oh man, that comes out of nowhere. You're like, wait, this is not the movie I thought I was watching.
He's on fire, like every time he's on the screen.
Yeah,
going for it, man. I loved his like little wrinkle in the movie, man. That really.
Oh yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it if you're watching this. So yeah, one thing I kind of learned from this little exercise, it was kind of a fun idea to kind of see what like things would be rated, and it's kind of putting things into buckets between film and movie. And you get like the high, like Roma was a film, but it's not something you ever want to watch again. Like it was great to watch once, but I'm never going to ever watch Roma again. But some of these, you're like, well, yeah, it's not going to win any awards, but it's something I'm going to want to watch like 10 times because it's fun. Exactly. It's the difference between here's a piece of art that you need to learn something from or feel a way about versus let's have fun for 2 hours. Let's have a fun experience, and then that's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's tons. And I was surprised. Well, not that surprised, I guess. I've seen a lot of these movies. I own a lot of these movies. And there's a lot of certain actors and franchises that just never charted. It's like, oh, really? All of them you put below the 50. Okay.
To get back to your guy, Pauly Shore, like every Pauly Shore movie is in 0 to 20%.
Got a couple on my list, to be honest.
That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, wow. And just random, like, most of the Baldwins. There's a lot of Steven and Billy features in there I never knew existed. There's definitely my guy, he came up last episode. We talked Gerard Butler's in a ton.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But they're fun. He makes it
even his good ones, yeah.
Yeah, he makes it work though. Sorry.
There's movies there's a lot of, I also discovered sequels that I had no idea existed. Like Leprechaun Origins is in the sub 10 in particular is a desolate landscape full of like, what are you doing sequels. So I just wrote down a couple because they were fun to me. The whole 10 yards. So they had the Bruce Willis, Amanda Peet, Matthew Perry. They said, let's run that back. I need to see what these characters are going to do for another 2 hours. Joe Dirt 2, Space Chimps 2. They had the Space Chimps 1, and they're like, let's do that again.
Right.
Bucky Larson got a movie. Marmaduke got a movie. The one with Matt LeBlanc, Chimp and baseball. The baseball playing Chimp. That got a movie.
Yeah.
And then Larry the Cable Guy all over the place down there too.
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting landscape. If you really want to just kind of spin the wheel on Americana, just do that sometimes and find something you wouldn't expect. A lot of horror movies too.
Yeah.
If you're a horror fan, you can find a sub 10 out there too.
Ton of horror, ton of comedies, ton of action, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna pluck some zeros just over the next couple months. Just if I can find some. I didn't even know it went to zero. I didn't
know there were zeros. Yeah.
I never really delved. I would Google something and be surprised by its score, but I never have done this deep dive before. So the fact that there are straight up zeros. The lowest on my list is 7. I actually have a 7.
Oh wow. Yeah. I have a 16.
All right.
Because you also get to, I mean, we were like trying to think, okay, what's the lowest I can go on this with still being a good movie? And I got to the point where I was like, is this a good movie? Is this a movie I like? Or is this just a movie I don't think is as bad as its score is?
True.
Like, is Couples Retreat really worth watching again? It's like an 8. Probably not.
Speaking of Joe Dirt, though, I think I saw that number 2 actually scored higher than the original, which shocked me.
I mean, when you got classics like that, you can only improve on them.
I mean, you got Academy Award winner David Spade on the card. You don't.
That's right, Sir David Spade.
What are we drinking tonight?
I am drinking an IPA from Side Project, which has been rated the number 2 brewery in the world. No joke. It's called Skoshi. It's a nice, delightful. What about you?
Typical. I am having the wonderful cocktail made famous at the Brass Rail because I can't get out to as many places as I had before. I'm drinking Gin and Squirt.
Gin and Squirt?
Known as the Squint. So if you're ever at the Brass Rail.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I like gin. I don't think I've ever had a squirt, so now I got to try that.
Yeah, man. That's what you uncover at the Brass Rail, man. And it's an acquired flavor, but I've grown up.
I kind of want to try it now.
Yeah, it made me feel nostalgic. I'm probably drinking a little bit better gin than typically I would get there. So to get the true rail experience, you're gonna have to go like below Beefeater. But I have Hendrix going in here, so I think maybe
nice.
It doesn't really blend as well because you kind of get those cucumber like hibiscus notes that are a little bit more present than your rail.
I do love Hendrix though.
Yeah.
That's my number 2 gin of choice. My number 1 is Ransom Old Tom Gin.
Oh yeah,
which is that's my go-to. I actually had a bunch of that. I found it at the local liquor store here, and I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. So yeah. I might have had 4 or 5 gin and tonics in the last couple of nights, which not a good way to start the work week. But
well, with the game last night, you kind of had to prime yourself.
Oh yeah, there was some celebration after that game last night. I'm like, let's make another one.
Yeah, hey, we're talking about the Illini Michigan game last night. For those that are listening, but this is Pain Production, so you're probably aware. But yeah, that was.
Might be watching in the future though. It might be a couple of weeks from now.
Right. It was a surprisingly unstressful game for us, which is like
right.
We so rarely get those that like I haven't been nervous since like minute 5. And
right.
I don't get it. Like it doesn't compute. It's not registering. It just felt like it was everything, and it did.
My brain was still trying to find ways for us to lose, even when we were up like 30 with like 8 minutes to go. I'm like, okay, they could still get like 10 in a row, and then it's a game again. It wasn't like until I call it the Arizona threshold, where it's 15 points with 4 minutes to go. Once we get to that, I'm like, okay, I feel better. I think we're going to win this finally. And it was still like a 25-point game. I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to win this.
We've been hurt before. Well, I mean, so yeah, it's not out of the realm. I mean, it almost happened the other night against Wisconsin. I mean,
yeah.
How can you hit that many threes? That was insane.
That dude was making me nervous. Yeah.
Waiting for the NBA Jams announcer, you know.
Right. He's on fire.
All right. So let's kick it off.
Okay.
So I got a couple I really just want to have so bad. And then
yeah.
So all right.
There's a bunch of these that I think are actually really good. That man. Okay. Am I going first?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to start it out at 29%. My number one overall pick is in a loose series of movies that are pretty bad on the whole, but this one kind of got guilty by association on the bad rating, but it's actually really funny. It's called Not Another Teen Movie.
Oh, of course.
Yes, 29%. So it's in the scary movie, the epic movie, all that stuff that they're mostly bad. This one is genuinely funny. It's got some genuinely quotable, rewatchable moments to it. There's one scene that's just skipped through. The bathroom scene is pretty disgusting. Just fast forward through that.
Right.
But no, it's really funny. It's got all the teen movie tropes in it.
Yeah.
But they do it well. They actually they parody it well. There's a loose, and it's Chris Evans too. I got a lot of Chris Evans movies in my.
We got to mention Captain America.
He's hilarious in it as the kind of the Jake.
Yeah.
What's the
with the paint on the overalls? The one they're spoofing.
Yes.
So that's the kind of the opening premise is. You can't
she's
get
all
this
that
girl to be she's all that. You can't get this girl to be prom queen because she's got overalls and a ponytail and glass.
She's got paint on her overalls. And of course it's Kyler Lee, who is gorgeous, right. That's the joke. But they've got all like the 80s teen movie things wrapped in there too. Like she makes her own dress straight up pretty in pink. It's really funny. Definitely worth a watch. If you haven't seen it, give it a shot.
Oh yeah, I've seen it dozens of times. Yeah, like it's got Breakfast Club almost like shot for shot, but like with younger kids, and it's got, like you said,
Varsity Blues.
Right. They got the Ducky character from, he's at the end, and they're just blatantly yelling tropes at him, like trying.
I want my $2. Yeah.
You can't win. Does this, and then of course they have the this. That was the one with the because I'm the stereotypical black guy, so I got to say that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's whack.
Yeah.
Damn. Shit, and that's whack.
All right.
And then the guy who was in what's his name? Who was in Save the Last Dance? Who was in like the early 2000s like teen movies? God, what's his name? It's the three names. His name's Sean something. But he shows up at the party at the end, and he's like, I thought I was supposed to be the only black guy at this party.
Right.
He's like, oh man, I didn't know.
Yeah. I forgot about it.
So it's like a meta self-reference. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Because it goes. It's one of those ones that's always hitting you over the head with like jokes, but they aren't like throwaway like Family Guy. Mm-hmm. They're still like an actual story, even though it's a parody, and they are actually going somewhere within. The performances are good, but they just keep stacking them on you as you're going through, man. Like they pound for pound, it's like always coming at you with something. All right. Well, mine, I have to have it. It's number 37.
Okay.
Mr. Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse.
Oh man, that was on my list too. Yeah.
37.
That's low.
I know it's not high art, but I mean it was unique. I mean, I guess like in the 80s, and I have some more that are kind of like this, like the set pieces, it's like the bar one, or or another one with Tom Cruise driving a car. It's like they just kind of had set pieces of things that were hip for a moment. But yeah, I mean, this movie has everything, man. It's funny. It's brooding. You got Sam Elliott just being an old dreamboat, soaking up everything. Danger, small town antics. It's
oh yeah.
It's got enough action that it's not like didn't cross over into Stallone's type of action movie. So there was enough in there.
Yeah.
He tried to be the sensitive bouncer, be nice until it's not be nice, philosophy for getting sewn up. I do my own stitches. Like, the more you keep hearing from this guy, it just keeps cracking you up.
It's the bouncer with philosophy on life.
Right.
But he's still gonna punch somebody in the face if he has to.
I got a beautiful car, but I buy the beater when I come in because I know it's about to get trashed. It's like,
oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, I got this amazing, like, in this small town, I got this amazing barn loft that looks over everything that I do.
Right.
In the morning. And
how is this guy affording that?
Oh man, 'cause he is the one. They thought he was taller, but he is Dalton. I mean, he makes his presence felt. It's got so many over the top lines in it. Like the villain with like the boot knife and like the shark's tooth rips his throat clean out. I mean, it's absurd. But it gets old. It never gets old to me. I can watch it and rewatch it and rewatch it. And then there's always the Bill Murray story too, where I can't remember the guy's actual husband, but Bill Murray calls him up every time he's watching Roadhouse to let him know.
Yes,
Patrick Swayze's having sex with his wife.
Who is that?
Why he chose that movie? He's a famous director, but why he chose to troll him on that specific one? And I think he got his brother in the fold too. It's just like every phone rings, that TNT's doing another Roadhouse marathon.
I feel like I've seen the last 2/3 of Roadhouse nearly as much as I've seen the last 2/3 of Shawshank.
Right.
It's one of those that if it's on, I'll watch this for an hour or so. There's like there's like a Chopped marathon. There's nothing really sports on. I guess I'll watch this. Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're fighting by the lake, and you're like, "Oh man, I've been on this for like an hour." Yeah, man. Roadhouse. I had to have it. I had to have it first.
Like, what am I doing with my day? I guess I'm watching Roadhouse for the next hour and a half.
Exactly.
All right, man. Because we're doing this as a draft, it's so tough because there's a lot that I want to pick next. I don't want to go super, super deep just yet. All right, I'm going to take another one that's a TNT special that I've seen the last 2/3 of, probably as much as those. It's a 46%er. It's from the man who can't say no to a movie, Nicolas Cage.
Samuel Jackson?
No, him too. Not in this one. National Treasure.
Right.
Steal the Independence. So yeah, I'm all in for that. One of the things I found out in this is I like a caper, even if it's kind of a dumb caper. Like, he's going to steal the Declaration of Independence. No, he's not. Because you can't do that.
Yes, he is. He's Nick Cage.
They're going to have all these stupid little permutations that get you into the building and somehow get it out of the. I mean, it's hilarious. I like the serial little caper type things. The action scenes are pretty lame, but it's puzzles and putting the stuff together. Diane Kruger is trying way too hard in it to be good. Like, she's taking it seriously and nobody else is. So she's actually really damn good in it. John Voight's in it.
Right.
Like, chewing the scenery in the background, because that's what John Voight does.
Yeah, it's a better version of another movie that's on this list that I don't think I'm spoiling by talking about, but the Da Vinci Code.
That's on. Yeah, I wrote that down too.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's not what I was going to pick. That was like one of the reserve ones. Like, oh man, because that I think is 26%.
It was shockingly low for Mr. Hanks. He doesn't. On that side of the line very often. So when you do, it's special.
That's one that he was definitely doing for the cash.
Well, I mean, it was, that book at the time was. I mean.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was one of the.
And Sir Ian McKellen in that too.
Right. So it's one of those things that if they do this right, and I stick the landing, that's like, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and there was a few of them that came by where it's like, if you're the lead on that.
Yeah.
It's good.
I like Da Vinci Code also. I don't think it's a great movie, but it's one that I've seen a few times.
Yeah, it's not. I've seen them both. I saw that and Angels and Demons.
Yeah.
And then it's just they're very watchable, man.
But yeah, I think, like you said, National Treasure is kind of a better version,
right.
in my opinion, of that. It's a more fun version. It's definitely one that you're going to want to watch again because it's a romp. It's fun. It's actiony. It's somewhat capery. So yeah, it's one that I like. It's one that I would recommend.
There's a good amount of Cage on this list, man. I got a couple of them myself.
He's a scenery chewer, so that rubs a lot of film critics the wrong way.
I still love the guy, man. I can't help it. I do. I really do. He made a lot of great movies, and even some of his bad ones I still love. But
he's made a lot of clunkers, but yeah.
Raising, I was growing up on Raising Arizona, man. And once Raising Arizona, it was like, I'm in. So
his horrible accent in Con Air, I mean, that's worth the price of admission just on its own. Put the bunny back in the box.
Yeah. Everything about that movie's on 11, dude. The whole cast of characters on the plane, from Buscemi to Chappelle to, that movie is a masterpiece of a mess. That everything is Cage's hair, like that he's got going, coming off the plane in the sunlight, and it's like trying, and it's, dude, that's fantastic. National Treasure was definitely high on my list, man. So I
took it then.
I got to tiptoe over to comedies. There's a lot of comedies on here.
I got so many comedies that are on deck here.
And I'm gonna bump it up. I just have to because this movie, I think my VHS tape literally broke watching it. There's a couple others on here that equally have this, but this was like a college staple. I'm a bit older than you, but I know you've seen it plenty of times. I'm taking at 42. Tommy Boy.
Nice. Yeah, that was definitely shortly on the list here.
Yeah, man.
I think of the Farley Spade. That's the pinnacle for me. Is that one with those two? So quoteable, so funny. Yeah. Farley. I mean, I would watch pretty much anything he did, really, except for Beverly Hills Ninja or whatever that last one was. But so much of what he did was just inherently funny to me, and I think this was about the pinnacle of him for me.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do that role if you're not lovable, and that was the thing about him that made that work, because that movie went really poorly if you just didn't like, if it's just like, okay, we get it, you're a screw up, whatever, but he's so actually lovable and hilarious, and you're actually rooting for him.
Yeah,
hilarious. And they resurrected Rob Lowe, and like it was
was that like the start of the low Rob Lowe renaissance?
I think so, man. I can't think of anything before it, but he's, when they go cow tipping and these shoots more than your life, and he's like spraying them off. It's just, the dichotomy of that there. And then, of course, we brought up Spade earlier. He hasn't done much as a solo career, but those two, that formula worked. His smarmy SNL thing only had so much legs, so that it really pairs well, because he's not really a foil, but he's not really a good guy either. So, it's a good pairing.
It's a perfect match for, like you said, the completely lovable oaf that was Chris Farley. And everything that he did, and then kind of the opposite of that, like the unlikable, but he also still had redeeming qualities to him. So you had Farley, who had a lot of irredeemable parts to him, but you still rooted for him. And then you had Spade, who had some things that in the end were kind of redeemable that you really didn't like. So the two of them together just worked so well.
Right. And physical comedy can always go poorly too, but when you do something like Fat Guy in a Little Coat,
oh, so good.
That always works.
And how many times have we all done that in our daily lives throughout the years? It's
you go get something from the closet. Maybe summer wasn't too kind to you because you went to too many barbecues, and it's like, oh, this one isn't working. So you got to do it, and you try to rip it yourself. Going for it. I'm never getting back in this bad boy again. But yeah. Everything about it is just kills me, man. And
so good.
From the beginning, Herbie Hancock. I mean, we can go on and on and on, but I mean, like, Wonderful.
Chicken wings.
I'd have it. Roadhouse and Tommy Boy were two must-haves. So from here on, I'm just gonna. It's gonna be a tough one because I've got a whole big pile in the middle of stuff I love.
Yeah, me too. Like I don't know what to go with because there's a bunch that I love in here that I admit are not great films, but they're fun and I want to watch them again. So I'm gonna stick on the comedy train. Another eminently quotable college era, somehow 35% Super Troopers.
Oh yeah, that shocked me too.
Yeah. And that's one that I think is a great 2/3 of a movie that they didn't know how to finish.
Right.
It's one that it's like the reverse Shawshank, where you want to watch the first part of it and then you can just turn it off,
right?
Because the ending is not going to make any sense, and it's not really. You're gonna be like, well, that might be why it's so low, actually, because people, you remember the last thing that you saw in the movie, so if you watch the third act of that movie, they didn't know how to make this idea actually fit into anything. So you've got the actual like drug smugglers and all of that actually is a thing, and that didn't make any sense. But the setup of the movie is just brilliant. That entire was it Broken Lizard?
Oh, yeah.
Broken Lizard.
I celebrate the whole catalog, man.
Works so well together. God, I'm blanking on the beer movie.
Beer Fest is on there. It's on my list.
Thank you. Yeah.
Club Dread is on the list too.
Club Dread. Those guys just work so well together. It's great chemistry between all of them. Like you can tell that they've got years and years of just joking on each other, like built into all this stuff.
No, yeah, I listened to a podcast right when they were announcing 2. I think they actually did it on 420, like True to Tone. And they were talking about like their stories and like how they, just improv troupe that blew up and then started selling bigger venues and then decided we're just going to do this kind of deal. It's the story that you and your friends always talk about doing, but never actually do.
Because you're not as funny as they are, right? Yeah.
That too, but also it's just like, I don't know. The first thing about writing is something.
Right. What are they going to do with this?
Right. Can we just talk and record and talk about it later? It's like, I don't know. But yeah, I love the whole catalog. Yeah, I've even seen the Slammin' Salmon. Have you seen that one?
I've not seen that one. Is it any good?
Good is a relative. No.
Just watch Super Troopers again?
I would say the other movies, including Beer Fest and even Club Dread, I call them good movies. This one was definitely off the path, but it definitely had a few funny parts because the players are all still the same. It's a restaurant waiter comedy, so you can kind of get the bits that they're kind of pulling. But again, they kind of put this whole like backstory in it with like Ving Rhames and like a criminal underbelly and all that. It's just, it wasn't necessary. But they took it to 11 because I think they were trying to be as ridiculous as they could about it. But it juiced up Ryan Reynolds waiting was more what I was looking for. Uh-huh. That's kind of the pace for the first half. So that was fun.
But yeah, Super Troopers, another one that has just so many quotes from it that you can pull in your daily life, or at least I do, and my wife rolls her eyes at. But love it. Would watch it again. 1,000th time. I've seen it so many times.
How often can you say nimbly bimbly, and people know what you're talking about?
So we walk the dogs. We've got a park across the street from us, and there's the squirrels all up in the trees. And sometimes they jump from one to the other. And I'm like, he's jumping all nimbly bimbly from tree to tree.
All right.
And my wife's like, yep. You've said that. You've said that 1,000 times before.
Now I got some tough calls to make.
All right, let's do it. That's what I'm here for, is the tough calls.
A couple of them I want to pick because it broke my heart that they were on the list, but there are definitely better movies on here. So, all right, let's see. I've done comedy, done action. I can't really. You know what I got to, because he's the greatest actor of all time, and I'm shocked this movie was number 38. Taking Denzel Washington in Men on Fire.
Oh man, I did not see that one.
Greasy.
I've seen the movie, but I did not see that it was on that list.
Yes.
It was 38?
Yes.
Really?
Right. I
That's a
know.
good movie.
Exactly.
Was that Dakota Fanning, like young Dakota Fanning?
I believe
Is
so.
that the little girl in it?
Yeah, she calls him Creasy Bear, and
Yeah.
and he handcuffs the guy to the steering wheel, and yeah, it's an intense movie. I mean, it's early, not evil Denzel, because he's the guy that'll take no shit, but he's still got the heart of gold.
It definitely wasn't Training Day Denzel.
Right.
It wasn't dark Denzel, but it was take no shit Denzel. Like
Not playing by the rules for the first time, Denzel.
right.
Oh, okay, he's gonna go there. All right, all right. But yeah, I love it. I've seen it more often than I can think about, and anytime it's on cable, I'm like, oh yeah, Creasy Bear, I'm in, and it's just intense, man. He goes for it. There's another one on here that I really liked as well, but not as much as this, but it kind of a similar premise. But yeah, Man on Fire, dude, I love that movie.
It is a really good it's an actiony movie, but it's got a good heart to it. Makes you actually want to root for the semi bad Denzel doing things on his own.
The hero. He's the hero.
He's the anti-hero. He's a good anti-hero.
Right. Yeah. When only bad people are being punished, no one really holds it against you.
That's right. Yeah.
Good.
No, that's a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Vigilante justice.
That's right.
People see millions of Batman movies. Why can't Creasy Bear do a little harm to get? Oh.
Batman's not even trying to protect a little girl.
Right.
He had Joffrey, but yeah, you see how that turned out.
True. Yeah, don't get too close to that guy.
Oh man. Okay. Here's the problem. Like, I've got a group of about 10 that I like that are all about the same for me, and I'm not sure which way to go.
Choose the one in the middle.
All right, fine. We'll do that. Is that okay? I've got 2 comedies though. I want to see if I can go with. I got an actiony one in here, and I go back to a comedy after this. All right, let's go. No, okay. Let's. God, this is tough. This is the toughest of the drafts that we've had.
I know.
So many that are all kind of in the same range of ones that I like. But another one I was incredibly surprised was so low, 38%. One of the funnier, I would say, movies of the last 20 years is Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh wow, I missed that.
38% with one of the great casts of all time. Anybody that you can think of that's a big star now, before they were a big star, they're in Wet Hot American Summer. I actually want to pull that up real quick just to go down the list, because I know I'll forget some people.
Well, I mean, Bradley Cooper had what, like 2 lines with Amy Poehler. They were like the drama teachers, and the people came for like the quote unquote star power of David Hyde Pierce.
David Hyde Pierce in that. Oh my God. And Janine Garofalo were like the headliners of the movie.
Right. But they weren't even, they did have some funny parts on their own, but I mean, Rudd is stealing the show.
Rudd makes it for me. He's so damn funny in that. Okay, so I'm just going down the IMDb. Yeah, again, it starts the highest build are Janine Garofalo and David Hyde Pierce. I mean, come on. It was 2001, so that was hot off of Frasier.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But Paul Rudd, Christopher Maloney.
Oh, the cafeteria.
Michael Ian Black is great in it. Amy Poehler, Bradley Cooper, Elizabeth Banks, Judah Friedlander, H. John Benjamin. Pretty much anybody who's funny now was in this movie 20 years ago. And it's just great little vignettes. another one that I could watch over and over and over again because it's just so funny. It took me a long time into my life to really see it. I think it was probably like in the Paul Rudd renaissance of the early 2010s before I actually finally sat down and watched it. But I've seen it like dozens of times since then.
Yeah, every time you were mentioning somebody, I thought, it was like Elizabeth Banks. I think, oh, you smell like burger. I don't like you anymore. Just and then Maloney, man, with the H. John Benjamin, wasn't he the can?
And then you hear that voice, and you're like, wait a minute,
right? Yeah,
that's Archer.
Yeah, but he's like the supposedly unstable like king of the cafeteria. And yeah, Rudd when he throws his stuff on the ground and Janine Garofalo has him pick it up, and he's that like 6-year-old like over accentuated like get the cup.
So that's your life right now.
Like, oh man, it was
you're living that though.
Right. And then even the smallest little things in there we still code, like my friends, like with the kid, the dungeon master that comes up, Alexa, you have put a level curse on me, and no dungeon master leaves without his 20-sided die. Like, so many little parts in there. The beekeeper, you find out his radio's not even plugged in during that whole thing. Like, oh my God, it's
38%. It's totally
that's bananas.
Totally overlooked.
Did you watch the subsequent vehicles they made after on Netflix? They made like the sequel and the prequel, I believe it was, or were they both?
No.
Yeah. They're good, man.
Are those any good?
Check them out. They were Netflix originals. Yeah. I'm blanking on what they were called, but I watched them both. It's equally outlandish, and a lot of the same players, if not everybody's back in some capacity. And then they add new famous people in there because, of course, they have the prequel that was all like the camp before it, but it's funny because they're all so much older, but they're still pretending they're still the same characters. And then the other one afterward is, I think even John Hamm, of course, probably pops in. Of
course.
But, yeah, I mean, they start piling on like all the funny people that were fans of that movie tried to get like a little piece of it. So it's enjoyable, man. So yeah,
I'll check that out. I did not know that existed.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna feel a little bit more frivolous with this one because I I probably have 40 on my list, dude. I'm not lying. I liked a lot of these movies. And a lot of them
I've got a good 25.
Because they're so different. Like there's movies that I saw when I was a kid that I'm just like, oh man, I should pick that just because of like the way it formed me, or like the way that like I love that movie at the time. And then there's of course the movies as a kid that you're like, oh, did this one get canceled and that why it's down here? Like,
oh yeah, like do you want to watch this again? Like, what am I gonna uncover in this movie?
Right. Like I was like, oh, I remember watching Gung Ho when I was a kid. Michael Keaton. Oh no, wait.
Yeah,
that probably didn't age well. Like I don't know that one dropped some marks for the way they were handling cultural. It's like obviously Porky's is not. I never thought that was
can't have that. Yeah,
that wasn't ever really a good movie, but it was one of those like coming of age movies. But it's like that's got to be way low because
Revenge of the Nerds you can't watch again.
Oh yeah, no. Louis Skolnick made my villains list on a previous episode, man.
Oh really?
Top 6, villains.
He's not a good guy.
No, man. No.
He's the one you're supposed to be rooting for. He's not a good guy. There's a lot of
so many violations, man. So many.
He needs to be on the list. He's a sexual predator.
Yes, he is. All right. I got some favorites that I'm gonna drop down. I'm gonna pick though one of those. I'm between two of childhood movies.
Okay.
One of them is at 17.
17, nice. Okay.
So I'm kind of on that like, my heart breaks that it's so low. The other one's 35. You know what? Screw it. I'm going License to Drive. 17%.
I don't know License to Drive. Tell me about License to Drive.
Oh, you're young. I love it. It's the Coreys. Are you familiar with?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Corey Feldman.
Yeah, Haim is about to get his license and he fails his test. He just scored a date with the hottest chick around, played by, oh my God, why can't I remember her name now? Boogie Nights.
Heather Graham?
Yes, played by Heather Graham, looking, phenomenal as a young kid. It was like Crush Central. And so what's he gonna do? He doesn't have his license. His parents find out he doesn't have his license, and he tries to drive anyway. He gets grounded. He sneaks out his grandpa's car and picks her up, and of course his buddies come along because,
of course,
why not? You're on the date of your life. But she's actually dating a really slimy, like really older guy, especially the 80s. So this guy looks like he's 42
and she's 17 and he's 46.
So she gets drunk and then he's like taking care of her. So that's why the friends are wrong. So they kind of have a moment and then she kind of gets overboard. But then after that, it's like the high school kids romp. Like, of course, someone steals the car. Of course, all these things are happening that there's no way they're going to be able to explain the next morning. But, it all ends up with a nice happy ending. But yeah, man, I saw License to Drive so many times. I love that movie, man.
And you act like we're just different eras. I think we're like 2 years apart. I've never heard of that.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was mid 80s. It was one of those things when you had HBO, like in the mid 80s, they just they had like 9.
Yeah.
And they didn't stop showing them to you every like 3 hours. So that was one of them.
I had an older sister, so it was a lot of the Brat Pack type stuff.
Yeah.
And then what was that reminds me of, and so does Wet Hot American Summer, the one with John Cusack, and he's an illustrator.
Oh, One Crazy Summer?
One Crazy Summer. I was like, what? It's not Wet Hot American Summer, because that was on my list. I was like, what's the one that sounds like that? Yeah. I watched that a bunch when I was a kid too, which probably also wouldn't turn out so well.
Yeah, that one's kind of. I mean, Better Off Dead's definitely the better of the two.
Better Off Dead, yeah.
Yeah, the Savage Steve Holland experience, where he had like his animated openings and like build up, and then it was Cusack just being weird. But yeah, it was. One Crazy Summer didn't hold up as much. They had like the dime store Zabka like bad guy in it. And like, Bobcat Goldthwait, of course, had to be in everything in that era.
God, I forgot Bobcat Goldthwait was in that. Yeah. And they turned the guy's car into a boat or something.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole thing. The big regatta is how they decide.
Just like it was like a ski movie, but on water.
Exactly. And ironically, Better Off Dead was a ski movie. So they
right. It's like it's the ski movie, but on water.
I thought you meant because they had that whole trend. It was like Hot Dog the movie. They had like a whole ski thing like in the 80s too. But yeah.
Yeah, Discount Zabka in that. I forget what his name was, but he was perfect Discount Zabka in that.
There was a few of them. They tried. It's like we just got to make him blonde and kind of tall, and just an asshole. But you can't pull off the Zabka.
Overly preppy, blonde, tall asshole. Yeah.
But the triad, like you never knew where Cobra Kai to Back to School and just one of the guys. Like all three of those Zabka roles were all just intermeshed. All right, man. That's a great one.
So I'm going to look for... There's some that I know aren't good movies, but I love anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't matter.
So I was talking with my wife with some of these earlier, and she's like, that's not a good movie, right? Like, like Space Jam, I love. She's like, Space Jam's not a good movie, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like,
I'll fight.
It's a bad movie. Like, that, right? I was like, I'm a 40-year-old man who was in his teenage years when Michael Jordan was my favorite player of all time. So of course I'm gonna love Space Jam. Come on and slam and welcome to the jam, because it's the Space Jam. It's if I watched it now, probably wouldn't hold up quite as well. I think I would have that like as a 90%er for me. instead of the 43% that it is.
Sure.
But I feel like if I watched it again, it wouldn't remotely hold up. So I'm gonna go with one that I actually have seen. Ooh, yeah, let's do this one. We're gonna go back to the action. This is a serialized movie from the 80s that I think this one actually is the best of the group, even though it wasn't the most highly thought of. It's Rocky 4.
Oh yeah, I saw that on there.
Rocky 4 at 40%, right in the heart of the Cold War. You've got the Italian stallion, the American Italian stallion, Italian American stallion, going up against the Russian Swedish guy. If he dies, he dies. I mean, another one that's just so great for all the quotes to it. The "I must break you," all all the tropes from the great 80s action movies just rolled up into Rocky 4. Every single inch of it is a lot of fun. Even if you don't watch the Rocky movies, it's something that you can pop on and enjoy, I think. And I was really surprised it was 40% when I think like the other Rocky movies I checked were all like in the 60s and 70s. I don't quite know why this one was so lowly rated.
I think it was because I think it was like 80 minutes and 45 minutes of it are montages.
Oh yeah.
Which is, but they're kick ass. Like that's what I want, dude.
The
Is
yoke
like,
over his shoulders up in the snow. Yeah, he's getting at it.
dude's hitting him in the stomach while he's doing push-ups. I don't want to do those sit-ups anyway. He's like hanging off, but yeah. And then you got the cross, town with all the modern technology and like
Oh
the
yeah.
punching and the blatant steroid use and like so it's. And the music is Hearts on Fire is one of the worst songs.
Oh, so good. He's running up the mountain.
Escaping his tail.
How can you not get hyped for that? Come on.
They put a tail on him and he's like, you can't get me. And he screams at the top of that mountain, like what looks like
so good.
There's not even footprints other than his. I'm like, how did he? It's like, oh, he really did that. Like, yeah, fantastic, man. It's just yeah, I mean, they killed Apollo at the beginning. I mean, that just sets.
How can you do that to Carl Weathers? Carl Weathers dirty like that?
What a wonderful scene too. I mean, like James Brown is like in it.
Yeah.
I mean, the theatrics for this. I think it was just an exhibition fight too. I don't even think it was for the title.
And Drago just went hard. And he's like, I'm going to show this guy. I'm going to destroy his heart and his brain. And then like the slow motion. Yeah, no, that's it's all the Rocky movies. Like, and then I guess for me, because this was what 87, 86, somewhere in there, somewhere kind of in that range, I think. So I think original Rocky was 76. I think Rocky 2 was 79 or 80. I think Rocky 3 was like 83. So I think it was like 76, 78, somewhere in there. Or not 86, 87, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So for me, this was probably the first one that I actually saw.
No, right.
So for me, it's got a special place because I was a little tyke for this one, but I still understood the themes to it. I was still sad when Apollo died, even though I didn't know Apollo from the previous movies.
Right. Yeah. Now that was like 3 to me because 3, I was also young when it came out, but it had Mr. T and Hulk Hogan in it.
Oh, Clubber Lang and Thunderlips. Yeah.
Another exhibition that why was this sanctioned? Like the gloves are literally coming off. They're throwing people in the crowd. Like that's your heavyweight. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
But it's so outlandish and Clubber delivering his lines of just, coming after his wife and be with the real man, it's just like, oh man, like
what's your prediction for this fight? Bang.
Exactly. Even
so
as a
good
kid, I knew he shouldn't be saying these things, man. It was like, oh, mixed doubting him, man. I'm like, what? Yeah. But yeah, 4, man. That
the whole series is fun.
It's just pure testosterone in a bucket, dude. It's wonderful.
It's 80s action at not its best, but it's some of its most fun, maybe.
All right. I'm not going to get too weird on here. I had a couple odd ones. But I think I'm gonna table that. Oh, I could do all comedies, but
I could too. I could do just the sub 50 in comedies.
But I'm not. But I might come back because I kind of went off with Man on Fire and Roadhouse. So
I did too with Rocky here.
Right.
I bypassed a lot of funny movies to go with Rocky.
There's so many, but I think I might just do a whole, because a lot of them are also just like huge like stoner comedies for me. So it's like they all. I can't like have one without the other. Like I feel like they're all on the same team.
Half Baked is sitting there at 29%.
Fantastic movie. I mean, Chappelle kills it. Doctor said I need to have a backiotomy. Oh, all right. What? Yeah, I'm gonna actually. You know what? I'm gonna go highbrow because I think I'm definitely taking my 7%er. I'm not highbrow that high watermark. I mean, so it's not a highbrow movie, but I'm gonna dip into the horror genre.
Okay.
One that had many sequels that got progressively worse, but the first movie was fantastic, and I'm shocked it came in at 49, just under the cut. Taking the original Saw. It was at 49. I figured I lost your audio, man. There you are. Wait. No.
I'm still there.
Okay. I lost your audio for a second there.
Okay. Well, as long as you still hear me, I'm not a huge horror movie guy.
Hold on. We got something weird here. I'm going to pause it. Okay. And boom, now you have headphones. I don't edit this, so yeah. But yeah, man, we got the audio.
Thank you for choosing Arby's. Can I take your order?
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Yeah, the sequels progressively fell down the scale down to, whatever, the teens. But the first one, Cary Elwes, it was like a mystery in one scene, but they're kind of doing other stuff outside of the one room, but the action's kind of all in one room. And how this is all plotted out, and which eventually became Jigsaw, and I don't know. I gave up after like 3 because it just became like torture porn. But
yeah,
the first one, even though it was grisly as hell, especially the ending, but like it was just so fun. It kind of reminded me, yeah, it's just the twist. Finding out he was in the room the whole damn time. Like, I mean, it was just like, oh no, I did not see that one coming. Like, it hit me good. I saw it multiple times, and I was so excited for sequels. And then, yeah, it was just.
It definitely veered into the torture porn.
Right. It wasn't a movie. It was just like, let's brainstorm.
Let's gross out as many people as possible.
And then just use the label and it'll be like, So, but the original one, man, I was shocked it was there. I figured the first one would be high up and then they dropped them all down, but no, it's sitting there 49, man. I had to take it.
That's one that I like I said, I'm not a horror movie guy. I just don't really like the genre in general, but I've seen Saw, surprisingly enough, because it wasn't like, I mean, it was gory, but like gory doesn't freak me out like supernatural stuff does.
Right.
I don't want to go super gory like you said, the later ones. I've seen a couple parts of that where I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm good. I don't need to see. You got to put your hand in this box of razor blades, or you got to put your face in this bear trap type thing. Right. Like, I don't need to see that. But it wasn't like the supernatural stuff that freaks me out. Like Exorcist, I can't do. Stuff like that. I'm not on board for. But I saw, and it was. I like you said, I like the twist. I like that it, like, oh, he was in the room the whole time and he was just there to kind of mess with your head type thing. Yeah. It was not my cup of tea, but I totally get why it spawned 13 spinoffs or whatever it was.
Right. Well, and then it kind of spawned a whole generation, because then there was Hostel and like all those other ones that were basically less mystery, but just in a setting of like, all right, that's what kids want, is just to see like Achilles tendons being sliced. So we'll do that for days, man, and we'll just come up with a different location to put them in, and things will go wrong, and then all of a sudden people are just getting weird things done to them. So yeah, it just kept going from there. But yeah, that was the That was the Don. That was the original. The
Yeah,
original.
kind of in the same way that the Blair Witch spawned all the found footage
Oh,
ones that
yeah.
are still going.
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
And like all those.
All the low budget found footage horror movies that, yeah, dozens and dozens of repeats on that. Yeah, Saw was kind of the OG on that.
Yeah.
Psychological / somewhat torture. What's up, bud? I got 2 dogs back here that are just kind of milling around. One of them thinks so. Yeah, we've got a little balcony. So my last installment with you, my wife's like, yeah, it was a good show, but it kind of looked like you were in a hostage video. So why don't we move you to why don't we move you to the office where you can actually look like you're in a house and not held in a well somewhere. So
You hold up today's newspaper. Right.
that's yeah. And looking back on it, like it was like this much of my face for 90% of it. So yeah, we're in the office now, and with that comes the dogs and
Yeah, man. They know
chilling
what's
back
up.
there.
Right.
They're doing stuff. So I got one left. Man, this is a tough one.
Wait,
I
what?
still have.
No, I think you got 2, don't you?
No, I got 5 so far. I've got Not Another Teen Movie. I've got National Treasure. I've got Super Troopers. I've got Wet Hot American Summer and Rocky 4.
Okay.
So I got one pick left. Man. And there's so many that I like in here that it's tough to really pick. Not going to do Leprechaun Origins. Not going to do Ed.
Ed was great, man.
No, Ed was not great.
Matt LeBlanc was king of the goddamn world at that time.
To the point that he could make a movie about playing baseball with a chimp.
Right.
Yeah. When so that's kind of when you got the fire is I'm going to make a movie about playing baseball with a chimp, and some studio is going to be like, here's $40 million to do that.
Yeah.
That's how you got the fire. I mean,
Right.
A
lot of Air Buds on there if you want to take some Air Buds or
all of the Air Buds, and there's an alarming amount of Air Buds. And because we've got dogs and we've had dogs that like to watch TV, I don't know if that's a thing that other people experience, but so since my wife and I have been together, we're on dogs 3 and 4 right now, and 3 of the 4 have liked to watch TV, where you could put a show on that's got a dog on it, and they're like, "There's a dog right there. I gotta talk to that dog right now." So we would put on stuff like Air Bud Golden Receiver and Air Buddies with the little puppy ones, which is just soul crushingly bad. But it's for the dogs. It's like dog TV before dog TV, because it's dogs talking to each other, and our dogs think that there's something on the screen that they need to see, and so they're all about. So I've seen most of those Air Bud movies.
that's
Not good.
That's why they're there, man. They're there to make sure you don't mess up the pick, man. It's like golden receiver. These are our goals, man. Like goals.
How can it possibly be legal that you got a dog on the football field? He's faster than every human. If he can catch the ball with his mouth, just throw it deep every time, and the dog's gonna go get it. It's not fair. It's a completely unfair offense. Shouldn't be on there. Basketball either. Why you got dogs in the court?
It's not his problem, man. He's just there to star. It's
Just a dog being a dog.
He's there to show out.
But we've digressed. So I'm gonna go back to, oh God, all right, high school era for me. Slightly after high school, I think. Yeah, this was a little slightly after, but very high school invoking. And if I said to you that playing football for West Canaan High is the opportunity of your lifetime, what would you say to me?
Oh, I would say I don't want.
Yes.
Man, I missed that. Damn.
Varsity Blues is sitting at 43%.
Wow. That one.
We invoked it earlier with Not Another Teen Movie,
right?
Because there's a heavy Varsity Blues influence in Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah.
Both the football aspect of it and the whipped cream bikini aspect of it,
right?
Where you see Chris Evans come out in the whipped cream bikini. But yeah, Varsity Blues is just classic for me. It's idealized high school as told by 25-year-olds.
Sure.
Because you got Johnny Moxon, aka James Vanderbeek, high on the Dawson's Creek wagon there.
Well, yeah.
As a 17-year-old.
Yeah, man. Teen stars were not much hotter than, and I mean that not by a looks way, but like popularity wise, like the Beak was huge.
Yeah.
Dude. The Beak was huge,
massive, and you had a very young Paul Walker as as Harbor, yeah. Amy Smart in one of her best roles. She's one that I thought should have taken off.
Yeah,
way more than she did. She was
Road Trip, man. She should.
That's on my list too.
I missed that one. Damn.
Yeah.
That's
another great one. Euro Trip's on my list too.
Yeah. Fantastic. What Scott Conn making
Scott Conn is the tweeter. Yeah, tweeter end zone dance.
Stealing a cop car because you just could in Canaan, Texas. You can steal cop cars. Boys will be boys.
I always think anytime I see a receiver drop a ball, like in an NFL game, it's like, oh, here's a ball. I'm going to catch it. Because it's like, I don't know how you can be so dumb to drop a ball. Just see the ball, catch it. Such a good movie. I don't even know if it's a good movie, but it's an enjoyable movie. It's a damn enjoyable movie.
It's Roadhouse, man. Like it's so enjoyable. Like all the times, it's just it's clicking all the cylinders. That to me is good. Is the cinematography wonderful? I'm just here to have fun and I'm not dissecting the scripts and searching for plot holes here. Like it's checking off all the boxes, man. It hits different, and that's why I love it, man.
You know what I noticed too, and this is disappointing. It's my second John Voight movie of the night.
There's somebody you could make a pretty compelling case to do just all one actor. Of movies.
Of bad. Yeah.
One actor of bad. Like I said, Butler was in there. They did not like any Taken sequels, so there's a whole lot of Neesons in there.
Yeah. There's Taken 3 and the 30 cuts for him to get over that fence.
right.
If you know what have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
The running away, if you haven't, one where he's running away from the cops and he's got to scale a chain link fence, and because it's 57-year-old Liam Neeson, it's 15 different cuts in 3 seconds for him to get over the fence.
It's awesome.
It's so great.
It's awesome.
And I think I saw a video. It was that scene, that 3 seconds, but every time there was a cut in the film, it was an Austin Powers, like the cut scenes that they had in Austin Powers where it's him doing like the 60s stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it was every like second of Taken 3 and him jumping over the fence, it was another Austin Powers vignette, which was great.
That always wins, man.
Just the things that people come up with on the internet. Fantastic.
All right.
So that's my 6. I know you got one more. I've got another also ran list here that's amazing, I think.
No,
I'm not going to say anything now because I don't want to spoil any of yours.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to dive completely in and take it. All right. You know what? Screw it. I'm doing it because it's 7% and it breaks my goddamn heart.
Go all in.
Cruise, bartender extraordinaire in Cocktails.
Cocktails at 7%?
7%.
I did not see that.
Coughlin's Law, like the dynamic between the hippie shake is funny, but again, the bartender poet, they're in what's it called, Cell Block, the hot new club, doing their bottle flipping, but again, it's just trying to make money, doing Elizabeth Shue dirty, who's looking just maybe
fantastic
at her highest peak ever. Just
top of the top on Elizabeth Shue, that and probably Adventures in Babysitting.
Yes.
Around that same era. Yeah.
You may not like Kokomo, but it's a lovely song when you're looking at those beaches and stuff. Like
we'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow. So
it all fits there. But yeah, there was some 80s there. There's always the dad and the trying to buy off the poor boy because it's bad for his daughter. action there at the end, but and he probably really is bad for his daughter. But you know, aside from that, it was just a fun movie, man. And it's one of those things like I was talking about earlier when they just were picking popular stuff. They probably was some producer at a bar.
Yeah.
It's like Flair bartending's going to be the hottest thing.
We're gonna make a movie of this.
We got to get it. Can we get Tom Cruise?
Here's $15 million
Exactly.
and a mountain of cocaine. Here you go.
Get me risky business. Put a bottle in his hand. That and I ate it up, man. I've seen that movie so many times, and yeah, it's fun. Coughlin's Legend, beers for breakfast, drink or be gone. Like all the quotable Coughlin law, like everything that he said is just, it makes no sense, but it does make perfect sense. Like everything, it was like, don't play cards with the man has the same name as the city or something, you know, like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're right. Yeah. It's just fantastic life advice. And
one thing that movie is missing though is Tom Cruise sprinting. It's not a Tom Cruise movie if he's not sprinting somewhere.
Are you sure? Because there's that part where that's how he meets.
Oh wait, is he sprinting in it? Is that the first Tom Cruise sprinting movie?
Someone on the beach is in trouble because that's how he meets Elizabeth Shue.
Oh man, I might have to watch that again.
He jumps over the bar, and I don't know if we have I'm gonna have to watch it again tonight. I don't know if there's actual footage, but he hustles to be like the hero. He doesn't really do shit. He just shows up, and all of a sudden she's like, "I'm fine," and everybody kind of applauds and like, "Hey, what's your name?" And it's just like the trope or the mechanism to get them together. But he does hop over that bar, and I don't remember if he runs or not. Now I gotta find.
He probably did his own stunt on that though.
Oh yeah, the bar stood no chance, man.
Nope.
Oh yeah, that's no Nisa, man. That's full. That's optimal Cruise. Cruise is in control of that action. All right. Well, we probably have about 50 honorable mentions, but as we, maybe we can just pick a couple.
So I'm surprised that your list didn't include one that was from your last list. MacGruber is at 48%.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
We talked about MacGruber though, so I couldn't really include that on this one.
Yeah, I was going to include it in my honor because of that. A couple of my Christmas movies are on there too, from episodes.
Santa Claus 3, I think, was at like 7% or something like that.
Right.
The one with Martin Short.
That just hurts. It's Cocktail, man. Like you can't put those on the same level, dude. That just broke my heart.
All right, let me pick out a couple of ones that I didn't take The Room at 24% because I figured like that's one that everybody had seen, and it's not trying to be fun or funny, but it is. So it kind of feels like picking on it and a little trope at this point, but that's still one that I enjoy. Chronicles of Riddick at 29% is a off-quoted horribly. I mean, Vin Diesel and Carl Urban and Dame Judi Dench somehow.
Of course.
Did she really need that extra lake house or whatever?
Absolutely.
Very quotable though. I thoroughly enjoyed Chronicles of Riddick. Another one from my college era, Boondock Saints at 28%.
Right. I remember the posters.
Oh yeah. Euro Trip 47%. Billy Madison 42%. My lowest rated one that I nearly picked, 16%, is Grandma's Boy.
Ah, that's on my list too. That was in my stoner cluster, man. I love it.
Yes, yeah. That's all the periphery of Sandler without having to deal with the Sandler in it, which I think is probably the best way to do it, really.
Hey, video game designers, it's like this is it. This is what we got. And he lives with his grandma, and that scene when he's
funny.
So high, and he's picking all this stuff out. I don't know what you are, but I'm a you, and he's piling it all in the pan, and then the payoff, he goes to get it, and he forgets the oven mitts, and it's perfect, man. Like
it's funny.
It's fantastic. I love that movie.
Can't Hardly Wait. Another high school / college classic for me at 40%. Part of the not another teen movie. I guess milieu. Mighty Ducks at 23%. That's another one that I feel like if I went back and watched would be bad, but it was still classic from my childhood.
No, that's a great movie. You take.
Is it still? Does it still hold up? I haven't watched it since I was probably 15 years old.
It's great.
Is it still good?
Yes.
Okay.
So fun.
I'll say we also got Love and Other Drugs is on here, 49%. I thought that was actually a pretty good movie.
I don't.
And then I'll finish with Too Fast, Too Furious at 36%, and Me, Myself, and Irene at 47%. Good movies. Watch those. They're good. I think we both have an affection for the fast chais.
Oh yeah, vastly underrated. That's high on my list, man. It was like all of Miami Vice, kind of. The first one was more Point Break. The second one was more like Miami Vice. And then you didn't even have to get dieseled. Like, I mean,
it's zero diesel, which is not necessarily a bad thing because it was.
You grow into.
Paul Walker carried that, and it was good. Tyrese is chewing the scenery as Tyrese always does, but
yeah, I love that movie, dude. I think
Eva Mendes, was that Eva Mendes?
Yeah,
she's fantastic in it.
Well, I mean, Vin ends up becoming baked in as you go through the franchise. Like, he just comes with it. He's your stepdad. Like, he's just part of it now. But you eventually deal with it, and you appreciate him for the few things he brings. And he doesn't ruin anything, but it's just like, I don't need this much of him. And so, yeah, it was refreshing that, like, going back later on, even I loved it when it first came out, but then going back and watching it again, it was like, man. And maybe they, and they're doing it again with Hobbs and Shaw. Like, it's like they know they need to finish this arc, but we can dance without Diesel a little bit and still be just fine with our franchise.
Vin Diesel is the roast turkey on the lunch meat platter sampler that you get. Like, it's fine, but really, I mean, you've got the corned beef over here. You got these wonderful cheeses. You're really gonna be going for turkey, sure, yeah, it's great, it's fine, whatever. But there's so many other better things on the plate. Like Paul Walker, unfortunately, R.I.P. Paul Walker. But I think the Hobbs and Shaw movie, which I had on in the background while I was working a couple of days ago, and because I was stressed out, and I'm still working from home. I haven't been back in the office in months and months. But it was just a day of meeting after meeting after meeting, and I just need something stupid on in the background for a half hour while I'm doing something. So I'm flipping through. I'm like, Hobbs and Shaw, perfect.
Right.
Oh, he's holding a helicopter.
Exactly.
With a chain. Perfect. I'm good. I'm in. Let's do it.
It tells
better to me than some of the early Fast Chais movies that are heavy Vin Diesel. I don't need the turkey. I don't need give me the honey roasted ham and some Swiss. Yeah, I'm good with that.
It's part of the meal, though. It's family. It's all familia. It's all Coronas. All right.
Coronas and family.
Coronas and family, Dom. All right. So, yeah, some that Be Cool at 30. I enjoyed thoroughly. It kind of brought Rock on the scene. His performance in there was like, I think, we talked about Hobbs and Shaw. My favorite Rock performances are like Pain and Gain and Be Cool and like something a little bit. I know what he's primed to do. And the man, I just even before we signed on, he has a new energy drink out now. I mean, the guy's a hardest working man, and he's got a tequila.
Yeah.
An energy drink, like, shoes. Like, I mean, he's never stops working. So yes, he's going to go for
the future president we're talking about.
Yeah. But I loved him and Be Cool, and he still kind of will play that kind of wacky character from time to time. A personal favorite, I did have Empire Records down to 29.
Oh yeah,
I did.
So good.
Rex Manning Day was just passed not that long ago. But yeah, I had to include that on there. For the horror genre, I also had the first Final Destination was on there, which I thought was shocking.
I saw that in the theaters. High school era for me. Is that like late 90s ish, somewhere in there?
Too many sequels, but if you like the formula, they didn't really swerve from it as much as the Saw movies. But the first one was like,
scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, it was real cool, and it was like, oh, you can't escape it, man. Like, you know, it was, yeah, I dug
And
that.
I think I saw the second one in the theaters too. That's the one where the first scene is like the log falls off of the truck. Is that right?
Yeah,
'Cause the first one is the
they're all
plane.
melting together to me now. Yeah.
I think the first one's the plane that blows up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not in for that." I think the second one
Like
is
the
like a.
roller coaster?
I think was that God that one that's rolling in together for me too.
That might
For
be.
me, I was thinking like the second one was the like the logging truck where the log falls off, and every time I see whichever one it was, like I see like if I'm driving down the road and there's like a truck that's got something that's kind of
Yeah.
precipitously like
Yeah.
bouncing on something, I'm like, nope, not gonna find destination this, whatever it is, just gonna move over a couple of lanes.
Yeah, man. I also had a really off the wall one, but it was a college movie and not in that sense of the word, but we just watched it a lot in college. It's a weird movie, Killing Zoe. Yeah.
I don't know Killing Zoe. What's that?
Eric Stoltz plays a guy going to visit his friend in France, and he is actually a bank robber. So of course it's a heist movie.
Of course.
But
You like a heist movie. We've established that.
And since he hasn't seen him in so long, I mean, this guy's become a hardcore like heroin addict. So it's kind of tiptoeing on there. Like, I mean, Fear and Loathing was below 50, a few of those, but I didn't.
That was on my list too. Yeah.
Into that too deep. But this one was just kind of everything's unraveling as this heist is going on kind of movie. And it's weird. It's kind of a little bit upsetting. It's a little bit grimy, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I was trying to get a couple in there that it was like, oh yeah, man, I saw that a bunch. And then yeah, Belly is a big one for me. It's not the stoner comedy, but
what was Belly?
Belly, it was not a hip hop movie, but it starred Nas and
oh yeah, okay.
And it's just beautiful. Like the whole thing is just like an hour and a half long music video.
Yeah.
So like visually, I used to watch it all the time to be one of those things. If I, went out to the bars, came home at 1, if it wasn't a comedy, if I just wanted some good music and and all this like clubs with like everything's purple now, but like the clothes are all white and everything just looks framed wonderfully. Oh, yeah. You expect Mace to come dancing in the, it's just like everything is just on point.
Here comes Teddy Riley.
Right. It's just, man, I have 2 copies of that on DVD. That's how much I watched that.
Wow.
Yeah. And then other than that was just a bunch of mishmash. We mentioned most of them. I always love Time Cop. I think is one of JCVD's finest.
Time Cop, Jesus.
Yeah, I can't believe it was under there. That's his best one. Hancock, I enjoyed an early Will Smith.
I can't get there with you on Hancock.
Dude, I loved it. It was like one.
Charlize is way too good for that movie. What was she doing?
It was one of the first like non-superhero movies though, because it wasn't anybody famous.
Yeah,
it was a little. I enjoyed it. I will fight for that. Hot Rod was at 39. I love that movie. It was like the Lonely Island christening scene, and then just one that I was shocked on that I found very enjoyable was the original Night at the Museum was only 43%.
I got a Stiller thing that like outside of Zoolander, like there's a lot of stuff that he did, like kind of like Sandler once he got past Little Nicky on with Sandler. I can't get there with it. And I think
all right.
Like there's a lot of Sandler that I just can't do. Like I said, the best part of Grandma's Boy was that it was a Sandler era, like periphery guys that wasn't involving Sandler. I kind of felt the same way about Ben Stiller after, I don't know, The Parents-ish. Like it was just a lot of Stiller that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. Like he was playing the same guy over and over and over again. It's like, give me something different. I've seen this guy for 15 hours on camera. I don't need any more of it. But yeah, no, I get the there's a lot of good stuff. And was that one of the last big things that Robin Williams did was as Teddy Roosevelt?
Could have been. Yeah, I don't remember what his last thing was, but that was definitely around
towards the end of it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I still love Stiller, man. Again, Zoolander, but early stuff.
Early Stiller was great. I just feel like I got burnt out on Stiller.
Yeah, I still loved. I still stuck in though. I loved Long Came Polly. Um, yeah, there was a lot of ones that I still, and then
I
of
could be
course,
persuaded. I mean, I'm sure there was good stuff in there that I just missed.
well, and he made Cable Guy, which is one of my favorite comedies of all time. So
Really underrated. I looked at that too, and that was just above 50%. I want to say it was like 53, 54.
it might have
I
been.
was like, I wonder what Cable Guy came in at.
Yeah, because that would have been probably my first pick. But yeah, that and then him doing the Menendez play of Sam and Stanton Sweet, with
Yeah.
and then turning into Eric Roberts, his brother, sweet brother. That whole thing, I love that movie so much, man. But so I always give him credit for that. And I love the show. And I had Heavyweights actually on my list. That's more of the character that you're talking about, the same one that he played in Dodgeball, but Tony Perkis, the new owner of the kids fat camp that comes in, he's all in spandex, motivational speaker, tan, like that was like the first time that character really kind of kicked off. And so I kind of bought in early and yeah.
Well, I loved early Stiller. I saw something about Mary probably 8 times in the theater because it was so great. But yeah, I guess I might need to revisit some of it because I got burnt out and I might want to go back and check some of that.
The one I'm trying to think of the one he did with Malin Ackerman and who is his wife, but he realizes on their honeymoon that he wants to be with somebody else. I mean, it's that kind of plot, but it was enjoyable as well. And I'm totally blanking on the name, but I like that one. Yeah, I've always dug his stuff. I mean, Zoolander 2 was harsh, but I was still there for it.
I couldn't bring myself to it. I love Zoolander so much. I couldn't bring myself to Zoolander 2. Just like I couldn't watch Dumb and Dumberer.
I had to. Yeah, Dumb and Dumberer I never saw. Yeah. I did see the other one. No, I did see Dumb and Dumberer. I didn't see what was the sequel. I saw the prequel, which was horrible. The sequel was,
oh god, they actually, oh my god, I forgot
came back his older, Jeff Daniels, and it's like, Dumb and Dumber.
Oh my god, I forgot they did that.
I never never saw that. So kind of in that
I didn't see that either. I can't bring myself to do it.
But yeah, the other one was When Harry Met Lloyd, Dumb and Dumber. Yeah.
Yes.
It was like barely 70 minutes, and they even had a montage in it. It was so bad. Like it was.
Let's stretch 15 minutes of passably funny into a full-length feature film. Oh my god.
All right, man. Well, we're coming up on an hour and a half. So yeah, man, at home, run it. Get check it on your phone. You might be able to do it on the PC. I haven't had a chance, but you can filter everything. So yeah, just look at some of those. I saw titles of movies that I saw on HBO at like 11 o'clock when it was like Welcome to Whoop Whoop. Terrible movie. It takes place in like Australia. I think it's an Australian movie. I barely have vague recollections of it. I don't remember if it was a town or just like a section of the outback that's called Whoop Whoop. And it's a horrible movie, an absolutely dreadful movie that of course I started and I had to finish, but I forgot about it until I got on this list and I was like, oh shit, that actually existed. And I watched that whole thing. And yeah, there's a lot of those on there where it's like, oh man, like
I can't believe they made this movie and it's on some HBO 3 or Cinemax West in the next week. Yeah, pop it on, because what's the worst that can happen? You can watch the same movie again for the 15th time. It's comforting, sure. Yeah, it's a nice old hoodie. Or you can push your boundaries a little bit and go with something that's a little weird. Right. But you might have a good time with it, and that's what it's all about.
Well, I mean, yeah, like I brought up Hot Rod. There's a lot of other ones when they first came out, nobody saw them at all.
Yeah.
If Sandberg wouldn't have blown up the way he did, nobody probably would have, but it would have still been like my movie with my friends, and we all love it. And you try to say something, and it's like, you guys don't know Hot Rod. Like, those movies are still out there, man. There's just so many more choices now that they're harder to find.
1000%.
It's like music, it's like shit ton of great bands out there, but they're so easily accessible that it's like I can't consume It's a movie that should have been on there, Short Circuit. I can't get all that input in fast. I did look for it. I thought that got canceled enough to be down there, but it wasn't because of that Fisher Stevens accent that he was trying to pull off in that one.
Man,
that's brutal. Like, dude, that's a white man. You're trying to get to do this, and that was harsh, dude. I was
oh man,
maybe they cancel Short Circuit enough here because I'm pro Gutenberg. I'll vote for Gutenberg anytime, man. And I'll look for that.
Well, it's like the donger, and we referenced we referenced that earlier. You can't, I mean, you can't do that. Like, you look back at that and you're like, oh man, they made a movie in, the time that I was alive with this character in it, and nobody was like, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we leave that character out, or we change that character a little bit.
No, they doubled down. Well, and it came up when I was talking about Skolnick being such a villain. My buddy Chris was like, Jake Ryan, man, he like gave his girlfriend and car and like said, have fun, do whatever you want. I'm me, he's you, like blah, blah, blah. Have a great night. Like, I mean, that's not cool behavior either, man. Like, he's kind of a scummy guy just because he wants to move on, It's like, that was kind of harsh, man.
80s movies tropes that kind of, for people our age, kind of even were the crucible of our youth, and how we saw high school.
Right. Paying admission to see girls' underwear in a toilet stall, dude. Like,
really creepy. Just kind of, in retrospect, like, that's what we grew up with, like, as what we thought high school and college was going to be. I didn't mean to take it off into that weird tangent. This is supposed to be we're supposed to be the trust tree with the nest. It's supposed to be a fun thing.
Oh, it's all right, man. That leads to future topics down the line. Like, I couldn't have fictional villains without having that moment where I was like, Jesus, Skolnick's just a horrible person.
Yeah.
And John Doe from Seven is too, but
of course, but
separated. And given the fact that the actor that played John Doe, they're really not separated at all.
I mean, you can connect it in less than 3 moves from Skolnick to John Doe.
Right.
I mean, it's not quite Patrick Bateman. He's probably an intermediary, but it's getting there.
It's getting there. He definitely is asking about that. All right, man. I'll let you go, dude. It's been fun.
Good talking. I enjoyed this as always. Let's think of something else fun to chat about for a bit, and let's do this again soon.
I'm in the Saw basement right now, dude. So yeah.
You are.
This is my dungeon dojo, man.
Yeah, like, is there a creepy little like puppet off to the side?
Hold on.
Oh God! Oh my God! You got a tricycle there too. Oh no! Oh God! Don't do that.
And on that note.